Hi guys, welcome to this new section where we are going to start creating our sphere. And then we are going to put the backgrounds and do all these things and move our sphere around and make it, fly in the space. Fine, let's start with the sphere. I will create a new composition. I will call it sphere for now. We are going to delete this one, in fact. And I really hope that you have downloaded your project from the lecture before, so we can have the pictures here or the JPEG and the GIF so we can work on and you can follow up with me. Cool. So let's go to sphere. It's over here. What we are going to do is to create a new layer. We choose our timeline, say layer new, and we say solid layer. Let's make it typically white. It's a good example for the sphere. Now I have a white layer, that's it. I will come to the effects and say CC sphere. Now CC is a good company, it's Sycor, and they do a lot of presets and effects for Adobe After Effects. I will take CC sphere and drop it on the solid. Immediately a sphere is created using that solid. It's very easy, very simple. It's created, and notice it's a whole comp, the size here. This is not 3D, the layer is not 3D, but it will look like 3D. Let's look at the parameters. The first one is rotation. You can rotate your sphere on the x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis. That's cool, but then in this case here it's all white, so it's not showing with us. That's no problem. We will train on that when we put a background, something nice. You have the radius. The radius is always 200 when you start, that's the default value, and you can grow it in and out. And this is the way you will scale your sphere. Do not scale it with scale unless you have to. Okay. Then you have the offset. The offset is this small center here. You can take the offset and put it anywhere you want. So you have the center of the sphere. This is very nice, and you can use it to move the sphere. It has its limitation. I will show you how. You can always right click on a value here and say reset, and it goes back to its original value. Cool. Let's look at lights. Lights is pretty interesting. First of all, you have the intensity of the light. How intense is the light? And you can make it as crazy as you want or as little as you want. That's a matter of choice now. And of course, depending on your background. Then you have the light color, and that's pretty interesting. You can make it yellow. Of course, if you have a background, if you have some image here, it's going to change. It's going to become much more beautiful, for example. And you have the light height, and that's pretty interesting. Notice how the light is moving. You can decide I want to put it that way, and also you can decide, okay, I want it this way. It's just a matter of taste. You decide what you want to do. Let's look at the shading now. And in the shading you have the ambient light. If you reduce a bit the light height, and you see the ambient light is where how much the light is being diffused, or how much light there is as ambient light all over. Cool. Also you have the diffusion here. I will reset this value. You have the diffusion of the light and how far or how much light you want to go around when the ambient light is active. For example, if you do it that way, you can increase the ambient light or decrease it so it does not cover everything. So these are few parameters that you can play with also. I will reset this one. You have the specular. If we reduce the light intensity a bit, you notice you have a specular here. The specular is like where the light is hitting. You can see it over here. Let me try to give it to you nicely. I guess so. So you can see the specular here in the middle now. You can make it smaller or bigger depending on what you want to do. Now this is the specular is where the light is hitting, and then it will diffuse or propagate all over your sphere. And you have the roughness of the specular. You can see it is nice. Cool, sometimes very useful. And if you wanted the metal look or non-metal look, it depends on the background that you will use. It'll give you certain effects. And of course you have the reflectiveness or reflective. How do you want your metal here or the specular to be reflecting within your sphere? Cool. And also you have a reflection map. We will see that later on. You can use a reflection map here to create it. So actually this is all about the CC sphere, and it's pretty easy to use it. Let's reset it. Let's animate our sphere now using the radius and the offset. Fine. I will just reduce here, remove parent, hide this. Cool. So I will keyframe the radius and the offset together. I will open now the keyframes. they appear. I'll go after, for example, a few seconds. Cool. And I will say, okay, make it very small or very big, the way you would like. Fine. And the here, we'll move it, for example, to this way. Okay, up here. Cool. Let's go back here and move it even more to this side and down. That will do for now. Good. If I run the animation now, let's end the work time. If I animate it now, press spacebar, you notice it's going just in a straight line. Now I don't see the motion path here because I animated with the offset. Now actually there is no motion path. So if you have your planet, you know, animating in a straight line, you can use the offset. That's pretty practical. But if it's not moving in a straight line and you want to curve it and so on, you will have to use the position. That is all about the sphere and how to use it. It's pretty simple. Of course, here when you put a background, things are going to change. This is what we'll see in the next lecture. See you then.